Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Connected Kinesiologist Monday meetup for Monday, July the 26th. And this evening we are here with Romelo Rodriguez of the Lateral Health Network. And Romelo, I'm just going to read a little bit of his bio here. I have to scroll around because I have been wandering through the group. So I am really curious to talk with Romelo because he has a really interesting background as a personal trainer who trained at George Brown College in the Fitness and Lifestyle Management program. He's been in our industry for about 12 years now, and he's worked as a personal trainer and a fitness coach to some of Canada's top pros. He's worked in, we were just chatting about some of the most elite clubs in the Toronto area, including the Granite Club and the Toronto Athletic Club. He has a broad range of fitness expertise, including working as a strength coach and a weight loss coach, and continues to work alongside physios and chiros to help with the rehabilitation of patients and athletes. He's currently working out of the Granite Club as a consultant and has an in-home and online personal training business based out of Toronto. So welcome, Romelo. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this evening. This is going to be a lot
of fun. No problem. Thanks for having me. This will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay. So what we'll do as usual is just have each of you introduce yourselves, because this group is all about networking, and we're hoping that you'll have a chance to network with each other, and then other people listening to our recording can reach out to you as well. So I'm going to say hello to Emma. First of all, can you say hello and tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. So my name is Emma. I graduated in 2018 from Guelph Humber for kinesiology. I'm going to be writing the test in September finally, so that'll be exciting. Currently, I am a recreation programmer for the Sunshine Centers for Seniors in Toronto, and they provide recreation programs for seniors of basically all ages, all abilities, all gender, things like that. So.
Very cool.
Yeah. Catherine, hello.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Catherine. I graduated a little over a year ago and wrote from Western Kin and wrote the exam right away in September. Became registered around like December, and I found a job starting in my hometown at a physio clinic working as an RKIN and receptionist. I also helped John Boxey out and teach some virtual exercise classes, and I'm actually going to be starting physio in the fall. So, yeah.
Hey, congrats. Nice. Yeah, did you just find out?
A few weeks ago. Yeah, I got a late offer, so.
Oh, very
but
good.
I'm going to keep my registration with the college up, though. So I've had a ton of fun, so I don't know. Let that go just yet.
That's really fun. So where are you going to do your physio?
Admin master.
Oh, great. Yeah, good program.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations. That's really cool. Christiane, hello.
Hey, so I did my master's at U of T in professional kinesiology. I have done a couple of different things, from long-term care to community care, really all focused around seniors. Right now, I am in the Great North, working in a very, very, very small town in a hospital, but it's kind of cool because it's kind of half hospital, well, like 1/3 hospital, 1/3 LTC, 1/3 outpatient. So I get to work with a lot of different people.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Really interesting opportunities there. Hey, Elise, how are you? Long time no see.
Yeah, no kidding.
We had a course this weekend.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I've been working as a kinesiologist for probably about 14 years now. Right now I'm working with private clients. I've been working with them for a number of years. Most of the clients that I've been seeing over the last year, I've seen virtually. I have done some in-person stuff, and maybe gradually doing more again. I've had, like, the people who have decided to do virtual training have done well with it. and have enjoyed it, I think surprisingly so. So that's been good. And I also have taught courses for First Line in the past. And I guess that's it for today.
Okay.
She's so modest. She's so modest. She recently completed a master's degree, has a couple of amazing kids, and certified diabetes educator as well.
Wow.
But she always forgets to talk about all those things.
By the end of the day, dealing with 3-year-olds, my brain's fried. Maybe is that an excuse? I don't know.
Fair enough. That's a pretty good excuse.
That's a pretty good excuse, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
So Romelo, welcome. I'm really looking forward to this discussion. Romelo is one of those people where, we scheduled like, I don't know, an hour meeting, and we just sort of kept talking and talking. And I was like, we need to keep talking more because your ideas are really a lot of fun. And maybe you could take a minute and tell us a little bit about how you came to create the Lateral Health Network, and feel free to share your website and walk us through how things are going for you.
Oh, fair enough. Thanks, Angela. Yeah, so my name's Romelo, guys. Nice to meet all of you. I've started a platform called the Lateral Health Network. And a little bit about me, I've been in the personal training industry for over 12 years now. Worked at a variety of different clubs and kind of worked on every level of it as you can, in the sense of whether it's somebody getting ready for their wedding, somebody who's pregnant, somebody who's just had a baby, all different levels of rehab and sports athletes and whatnot. And then aside from that, I've tried different aspects. I have a business background as well before I got into fitness. And
I knew that.
Right. So I really enjoy the business side of the business as well, where I've created group projects before with group exercise through Lululemon and things like that, with boot camps they can do, and seniors homes, and different rehabbing. In homes and condo training has been one of my latest things, which was pre-pandemic. And then during the pandemic, which I never thought was possible to evolve into, but a virtual business, which I've been really enjoying, to be honest. And I find a lot of practitioners are, and a lot of practitioners aren't. And it's definitely not something for everybody, but something that I've been really enjoying doing myself, and kind of exploring to see what kind of a marketplace there is for that. And through that is what I kind of stumbled upon the Lateral Health Network side of. I've always had this idea for it, but it kind of created something for me where, after working out of so many clubs and clinics and different things like that, where I knew where to find the resources I need to better help my clients. And I always have loved working as a team and surrounding clients with the team. The Lateral Health Network is something that I had to create for, once I've moved independent now into these in-home clients and into virtual clients. I didn't quite know where to find the resources I needed to help my clients out. And I always love to show that I'm showing up as a team. At the Granite Club, for example, I always have a go-to RMT. I have a go-to kinesiologist at the Granite Club in Augie Bovan, which some of you may or may not know, and an RMT and a physiotherapist. So always just somebody I can shoot people out to, and they do the same for me, and we all communicate and build a good system around clients, and have seen the best results that way. So with the Lateral Health Network, I'm really enjoying it because I now have resources where it started off with me just building resources for myself, to be honest. It had no name to the business, nothing. It was just going to be under Romelo Rodriguez and an extended network where I could find these in-home and virtual resources. And as I was building these teams and bringing these practitioners on, a lot of practitioners were mentioning the same thing, where, like, we don't know where to go for these resources either. And this is kind of cool to know about now, because everybody on this, on my website, was having in-home and virtual experiences, and you now knew where to get in-home and virtual experiences. A lot of us were at private clubs, so if a client's going to see someone, it was going to be in that club. But with these independent services now, it's really cool because now everybody can, in the click of a button, access all their resources for anybody they need in home or virtual. So this is when it evolved into the Lateral Health Network, which can be found at www.lateralhealthnetwork.com. I think Angela just dropped it in the chat as well. And I'll show you guys a bit of a share screen here and then walk you through a bit of how the business works as well. You guys can all see that, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. So this is the website right when you come on in, and when you visit lateralhealthnetwork.com, this is what appears. And a little bit about LHN is we're based out of Toronto, Ontario, and we bring health practitioners of the highest industry standards to your doorstep without you ever having to leave home. Okay, so whether they're accessing you with an in-home session with you or a virtual session, they can select and book you from here through LHN. And our goal is to get you to your optimal health by connecting you with health practitioners from a variety of different fields and delivering holistic care to meet all of your needs. So we've kept it pretty simple on the website, which I find in today's world with anything online or digital, it's got to be the simpler, the better, right? Like less instructions, the easier it is. And all people do is we currently have 13 different health practitioner categories that
that's increased, has it?
It has increased since we talked last.
Yep.
Yeah, we added meditation to it. We have a swimming category as we had more requests for that. Psychotherapy. We're trying to really get into people's mental health as well. And the way we've laid it out here is so that clients can come on themselves and click and view the services they want and book straight off the website. For example, if somebody came on and they wanted to view aquatics instructors, it's a whole different level of aquatics instructors. We got Julia Cabral, who does pool rehab and aquafit type classes. We got Andrea, she's a competitive swim coach, and she really teaches people on a national level. And then we got Cherry Bertrand, who does beginner swimming, who teaches people from all levels. And the main way the site works is we all work together within the site. And I'll pull up this one because I'm sure a lot of you guys will recognize. I know I heard John Bhakti mentioned.
Yes.
He was in there as one. And yeah, so there's quite a few kinesiologist options as well who've all been great so far.
Nice.
So from the client side of things, when they want to book, when they hear about LHN, it's typically through word of mouth where somebody's recommended, somebody's been looking for an in-home or virtual service, and another client of any practitioner in the network has recommended them to try booking through LHN, and they have everything they need from a kind of a one-stop shop in Toronto, and everything's vetted, and hopefully we can deliver a really great, outstanding customer experience when they book through us. And that's for the client side of things. But today I wanted to talk about the health practitioner side of things, which is where this business is built for health practitioners first. They're the main client of LHN, and they're the main partners we're looking to have, so everybody can feel like they have the resource they need for any independent work they're doing. So for example, if Emma had a client that she was coaching and feels they need some kind of nutrition help or dietitian help, and she would like that to be delivered virtually, and clients are limited in time these days, so we'll get into the benefits of virtual and whatnot later. But with a lot of those services, I'm finding with COVID and the way businesses have completely changed, it's really helping push these virtual services where people would have never considered it. They're now flipping open a laptop and getting a one-on-one hour dietitian consult with a dietitian and getting their service delivered to them. Even physio, even kinesiology sessions, where we never would have considered. I would have never even considered training virtually before COVID happened, and then it kind of forced to explore that, and it's way better than I ever thought. But practitioners are really building networks for themselves. And what we do is we help practitioners build virtual clinics. So what that means is if Emma's client needed, let's say, a nutritionist, she can come on to LHN and use the library of resources and connect with any nutritionist on the site. And the way that's done is she would just reach out to LHN through the contact on the form. And we have an HP portal here where she would do so once she's part of LHN. And she would come on and reach out to us and let us know that she would like to interact with, let's say, Carla, who's a nutritionist. And she can interview Carla herself and make sure she's a right fit for the needs, as opposed to just booking someone randomly off of the site.
Okay.
And so she can interview as many different nutritionists as she wants until she finds the right fit, who she thinks would be good for her client. And that way it helps show the client that, hey, I'm not only your kinesiologist, I also deliver a team to you. I can get you any service you need right to your door, and we can solve your problems and build a team around you. So what happens with that is, if Emma brings in a nutritionist, she's at the head of her virtual clinic where she brings in a practitioner underneath her. And because she's brought in the client, she's able to now consult with that nutritionist and better help and better build a team around that client, deliver what the client needs, and also exchange information with the nutritionist, which is the most important part, where hopefully that nutritionist can let Emma know what's going on and help her deliver a better kinesiology experience by going hand in hand with that. And likewise with RMTs and things like that. And with the virtual clinic model, the way it works is, anytime that you've built somebody into your clinic where you've brought them in to help one of your existing clients, and people will also reach out to you if you're on the website and bring you into their clinics to help with their clients. What happens with that is, we have a bit of a model where the practitioner with the clinic who they've sent a client to, they're able to actually build a better business for themselves too. And their clinic gets paid a percentage for the management of their team. So it's to help you run your business and pay for the offsetting hours. They're not training hours that you're doing or kinesiology consults you're doing, but every hour that nutritionist does with the client you've sent them, for you consulting with them constantly and ongoing is our expectation to exchange information between the two practitioners. We pay your clinic a percentage of every session that's done within your virtual clinic. So that's the base way that LHN works overall. We're not looking to be some kind of referral network. We're not looking to be any of that. We're simply looking to be a network where health practitioners can come on and build better teams for themselves and surround clients with an array of services. We find a lot of times people can oversell their own service for the self-fulfilling part of it, where you'll be training. If I train somebody 3 times a week, of course I make more money per hour and things like that. But is it really getting the client what they need all the time? When a lot of the time I can strength train someone, but hey, they could really benefit from 20 minutes of meditation on Tuesday as opposed to another training session. They can really use an extra yoga group class section on Wednesdays as opposed to another heavy hitting strength session with me, and so on and so forth. And that's why we've built this, to kind of encourage all of that happening while showing health practitioners that it can help your business too. All of this you're helping the client out, and you can also deliver your goal of the business goal as well. And we're trying to take away that little middle roadblock that I've kind of found to be there, where a lot of the time, as much as we think it's a nice idea to work with a team around clients, trying to give them a real reason and benefit to work with these clients as a team. And we're seeing that happen, and it's being fantastic now. Like even with myself, I've used this network for pretty much all of my clients at this point that I have virtually. And it's been really cool connecting with practitioners every week and seeing what's going on with everybody. And the progress has been through the roof. And and I'll admit, through doing like over a decade of this, I've always seen great results and things like that have always gone well. But I'll be honest and say that this past year of having LHN and working with a team to do things has really accelerated things through the roof in terms of goals and through clients just being extra happy with what they have, and all literally by flipping open a laptop so far. Nothing's even happened other than I think one or two physios that have gone to the door for a couple things, helping rehab and queuing me and sending me notes back on how to deliver a better service. Other than that, everything's been done with a flip of a laptop.
That's so
And
great. I love that. I love that you're building this virtual network for a couple of reasons. First is because it's allowing this conversation in between different healthcare professionals. I think that we just don't have enough of that. We can't have enough of that. And then the other thing is you are able to refer someone really quickly, and you
Right.
have this one-stop shop where you can think now about your client load and think, I have easy access to meditation, aquatics, a massage. And so as I'm working with clients, this filter is running through my mind. Maybe I can bring in someone to help. They're right there. I don't have to go and do the extra work of searching and then trying to figure out, well, I haven't seen this professional personally, so I don't know what they're like as a treatment provider. This way it builds that know, like, and trust factor a lot faster, I think, and probably helps you with client retention, because all of a sudden you have this trusted stable of pros to refer them to.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a good point. And everybody that's coming in, I think so far is really appreciating that, like, this business is built by a health practitioner, who's trying to find the answer to that question of independent health practitioners out there. And when I meet them, every single person's it's been a meeting one-on-one. So definitely vet them, not only for what's on paper, but you can tell who would make a good business partner for other like-minded individuals.
Right.
And especially for a lot of the young professionals out there, I always encourage people where it's not everybody in the network is open and willing to talk to anybody within the network or any other practitioner and helping them out. So we have a lot of senior practitioners that you'll notice. And when people often ask me, like, what's the difference between LHN and using another platform where you can book a professional health practitioner off? And the couple things that I tell them are, one, it's an actual platform where people actually know each other. The practitioners typically know each other or have seen each other around. They're open to actually networking. It's not as simple as a client just coming on to book a practitioner. The main use of it is for practitioners, where they can network with each other, see how things are going. And a big question I often get is, I'm surprised you have people that look like they have more years of experience. Because oftentimes when you go to book a practitioner, it's because when you go to book a practitioner off a platform, you'll find really young individuals, which are great and accredited as well and all of that. But you won't find a lot of the senior practitioners with tons of years of experience. And typically that's because the platform's taking a huge chunk out of them.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there's a couple businesses like that do, let's say, personal training, for example, that will, they'll take 40% of every one of your sessions, or 60%, or
even in
things
the
like
online space, or just in the in-person space?
You know what? I was surprised that it's actually even in the online space, and even yeah, and I got to learn a lot of that. I would have never thought that or knew much about that. My wife is actually in the industry as well, and that's kind of how we met. And she was working for an in-home online kind of business where clients would come on and book them, and I would hear about how bad the cut was, but at the same time, they're giving you a client, and if you need the client, you're taking it. So I kind of see why people are working for those platforms as well. But I really wanted well-experienced practitioners as well, not only from the standpoint of just having these experienced people for clients, but having these practitioners so that they can help a lot of the younger practitioners. So I've had some really great young practitioners come on, and they'll message me just to reach out to some of the senior practitioners with their credentials, and their bios are all on the website.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll read through, and then they'll reach out and say, "Hey, I've never taken that course before. I would love to pick this person's brain about it. Would you mind connecting me?"
It's a
Um,
great idea.
yeah, and we're always
Yeah.
happy to do so. So I'm always encouraging people to, like, the site doesn't cost anything to be on. Um, it's just a community where we can all do this and help each other build our own independent virtual clinics, um, and things like that. So it's really only to benefit from that way. And if you wanted to network and meet people, because I always recommend when people come on that they start off by meeting 3 other health practitioners,
Oh,
and
that's a
they
good
can,
idea.
yeah, so they can recommend who they want to meet, and I'll just work on facilitating that communication with them and getting them going and recommending they do a Zoom chat and get to know each other. And that way you have, don't, I always say, don't just use the site when you need somebody. You try to
Yeah.
have a few people in your back pocket that you know offhand does this. And for me, for example, like, I always get people to list the three main things that they find they refer to the most, or that they feel can help their clients the most. And for trainers, for example, who I've worked with the most off this platform, it's typically a yoga practitioner, a Pilates practitioner, and a nutritionist. Nutrition comes up a ton. And and I'm always working to set them up and try to use different practitioners and match personalities and things like that. So it's kind of a different twist on the business, where we're not just matching practitioner to client, we're matching practitioner to practitioner.
It's
So
very unique. Yeah. And Romello, I have to say, I've not seen this model before, which is why I really was interested in having you talk about it, because I've been actively talking with other platforms, as you know, and trying to explore what their business models are, what makes them different. And I mean, I love networking. I love connecting people. And I think that this is really something that's very, very interesting. So, I know I've said this before, but I really appreciate you doing this, because the more we all get to know each other, the better and smoother our referrals are. And as you were saying, the clients are just hitting it out of the park. They're doing so well, which means they're going to be bringing in friends and family members, and then so on and so on. And that's really how things get built, is organically through word of mouth, or now it's the click of a mouse, really. So I really think
right.
the models is very interesting. I haven't seen it before. So
Thanks, Angela. I
yeah.
appreciate it. No, it's been really cool. And for me, like, the best recommendations are always when they come from health practitioners, because if a health practitioner likes it, I find they can be undervalued a lot. Like, their opinions are the ones that, it's not even typically, obviously it's also appreciated when, your client Helen had a great experience with rehabbing her back from an ACL injury and whatnot, and she refers you out. But when another practitioner who knows the science and knows what is involved and what it takes refers it out, is something else. And it's really taken by clients more seriously. And having the platform be recommended by other practitioners has been one of the greatest things, where
Oh, that's so cool.
where it's become something that they use, has been something that I've really loved and appreciated.
That's great. Does anyone have any questions about the platform? Have you kind of looked around and heard Romello talking about it? Maybe there's something interesting that's come up for you in terms of an idea, or something's come up in terms of how you might use the platform. Maybe Romello, you can tell us a little more about how you came to personal training. I liked your story. If you wouldn't mind telling us that again.
Oh, for sure.
Telling
Yeah,
the
no,
group, I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, no, when I got into personal training, it was, I guess, one of those classic stories where I always played a lot of sports growing up, and loved doing that. And, you do that all through elementary school and high school and all that. And then when it comes to finding different ways to keep fit or do things like that, where sports kind of start to disappear a little bit unless you go out of your way and try to find house leagues and things like that. When I was looking for different ways to keep fit, I found the gym at George Brown, first of all, and started dabbling in things there. And I was enjoying it, and I was doing some Google searching on my own and learning a little bit more about it. And two of my cousins were actually part of the accounting team for the Toronto Athletic Club. And yeah, so I would go to the gym with them every now and then, and I was always curious. So they were making a lot of friends at the Toronto Athletic Club. So I would ask them questions, and they would pass on the answers and things like that. And they were like, hey, if you're really interested, why don't you just pick up, at the time, I was like just a student, pretty scraped thin, couldn't really afford much, not even a gym membership. So they gave me a job just putting towels and cups away at the Toronto Athletic Club, and in exchange for, working 3 shifts a week on just maintaining the gym floor and talking to members and greeting members and doing things like that. I got myself a fitness membership too. And with that, you're working out in one of the best facilities in Toronto. And then also you're picking brains with some of the best physios and different practitioners all in the facility as well, which was great. And I would join their workouts, and I had no idea. I still remember having no idea the science behind what goes into everything that happens on the gym floor. I was like, you want bigger muscles. Oh, that huge jack guy over there has done about, he just does like 50 curls with 20-pound weights and whatever, and not knowing anything about it or anything about rehabbing injuries, and learning and seeing some of these practitioners get together every Wednesday morning. They would go have breakfast together.
Oh, nice.
Open up textbooks and exchange information with each other. And I would sit through some of them, and they would teach me some few little basics, more immediate things I can apply in the gym. And that's when I actually got to know about the George Brown fitness program. They had all either started from there, even some of the physios had gone from there and evolved. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got my start. And then I signed up right away to get into the next year of George Brown's fitness and lifestyle management program. Mm-hmm. And my whole world changed from kind of discovering that in the time I was in college for a business program at George Brown. So I completed that. And then the next year I moved on to the fitness and lifestyle management program, which is a whole different world. And I was so thankful to find.
It's a good combination. And the George Brown program has a very good reputation in Toronto for training personal trainers. So it's kind of like, dropping the names of certain universities, dropping the name of George Brown, and fitness training is, you're getting a good trainer.
I was amazed at how targeted it was. Like, it was so direct to the science you needed and are going to be utilizing from day one to personal training. Mm-hmm. That I was just amazed with how specialty it was. Like, if you weren't there to be a personal trainer with practical experience and a good amount of the kinesiology background and physiology that they taught you through the 2 years, then there was really, and they had a good system for kind of filtering out who was going to fit and who wasn't within the first 5 months alone, which is cool.
I used to teach the yoga teacher training program at George Brown for a little while. And that was really interesting because it was like a post-grad kind of evening program. And it was pretty intense. It was twice a week. They had to work for 3 hours. So it was 6 hours a week for a year we worked with them. And these were people that either came from the personal training program or had no fitness and wellness background at all. So it was, and they had, a very strict protocol that we followed to take them through the training. And there was 4 of us that worked together on this program. So from meditation, actually music and chanting, and then anatomy. And I guess I did anatomy and physiology. And then one of my good friends did the actual poses and sequences. So it's very interesting how they put together a college program. It's very unique compared to a university program. There's no silos. I find that they kind of put it all together in a very different way. So it's yeah, it's a very, very well recognized program. And
the way they do those programs are pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty everything overlaps in every class, which is not always what we see in the kin programs.
No, there's such a good balance of practical and theory, which I really love. Like sometimes sometimes there could be way too much practical, sometimes there could be way too much theory, depending on what you're doing and what program it is. And going from the George Brown business program to the George Brown fitness program was like night and day. And I liked the business program, but I didn't love it. It was just too much theory, and there wasn't enough practical kind of hands-on experience into real case studies, I found, until you really got into the last semester. But George Brown, from day one, the amount of practical to go along with the theory and instant application so that it was really resonating with you, was amazing. And you can really carry that and take that out of the program right away, which I loved. And a lot of it really stuck, which I've had issues with just kind of education in the past of how it's been taught and delivered. So I was always impressed with that.
Very neat, very neat. Do you have any guidelines for referrals at all with Lateral Health Network, or do you just let all the different clinicians and providers figure it out for themselves? Do you have any guidance about scope or competency, or do you just say, I'll introduce you to whomever I like, whomever you like, and it's up to all of you to figure out where the clients go to?
Absolutely. So when we first meet everybody, and we bring them in, everybody's vetted in the sense of credentials and insurance as number one, just because you have to have that running any business. And then aside from that, it's personalities, like bringing in the right personalities that are good to mesh with people, who are open to networking and will work. Because sometimes a lot of people will have what it takes on paper, as we've all seen, I'm sure. And a lot of it will not transfer to in-person, real-life practical experiences and the social game of it, which is to say, not to say that it won't grow and it won't get better from there, but once that one-on-one, and that's why that one-on-one interview for myself, I find is so important, and especially when you're putting your brand on anything, where it's like, okay, maybe we're not ready, even if we're not ready for a client just yet. I'm always happy to help anybody in our industry or anybody in our field get the tools that they need with the right mentorship. And I have so many amazing mentors who have been in the industry for years. And it doesn't have to be somebody that's just been in your industry for years. It could be somebody that's, made it as a nutritionist, made it as a trainer, whether it's a kinesiologist or a nutritionist. Like, it doesn't matter, because once you come out with that piece of paper, that's really what we talked about, Angela. Like, that's really step one. Like, you haven't started yet. Like, you getting out there and networking and creating a name for yourself and building a brand. Like, that's where the beauty of the whole business side comes in, and marketing and knowing how to do all of that, and really caring customer to customer, putting a good prescription together for them and executing it. Nothing will go further than word of mouth. No amount of social media, no amount of any of that will go bigger than what word of mouth gets you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so neat that when you're in the ecosystem of a club, it could become insular, right? Because you've got this cross referral happening.
Right.
Could be a very good thing, particularly as a young clinician, because you've got your network, you have mentors already built in. But I've been trying to really encourage people to reach out to those other groups. As you were saying, we were thinking about putting together a mentorship group of international healthcare providers, so that we would try to experience a little bit more about what was happening in various countries. So with the UK, Australia, many areas in the US, and then looking at Western Canada and Eastern Canada, because as you know, all of these different regions have all kinds of different types of services, and then how they mesh professionally is often different. Everything has a different flavor to it. So do you find that most of the clinicians you're attracting are in the Toronto area, or are you finding that others are finding you because maybe they want to build their online business, or they're looking to connect a client that's maybe moved somewhere else in the province?
Right. So one of the things something I've really been trying to do is really focus on Toronto,
Okay,
even Ontario first.
right.
But with that being said, like there's definitely been people popping up from the States. We have a running coach
Oh,
that, yeah, he's been great in the States, and he was referred to me by a Toronto practitioner that
mhm.
said you should bring this guy in, and he was really good for just a solid gait analysis and assessing different tools, and he already had a great online virtual platform he was doing.
Mhm.
So we took that on. We have a psychotherapist and a great yoga practitioner in Victoria, BC, um, who was again referred. And that's what I'm loving about the virtual stuff is that, we can access so many different talents from across the globe um, with this, which is really cool. And we can network with them, and they're open to it, and they love having chats. And
Mhm.
if it's a service that can be delivered virtually, um, we are open to having them. We are open to having practitioners on, and whenever we bring practitioners on, one of our first things to do once we found the right fit with them is ask them if there's practitioners that they would recommend us,
Oh, very
because
smart.
right? Because if chances are, if they're good for LHN, the network that they existingly use is going to be great for LHN as well. And that's how we try to keep a good ecosystem in our world of health services and bring them in. So even if there's somebody in Chicago or Vancouver or Ottawa or wherever, we're
Mhm.
definitely open to having them and deliver services for us as long as it's a client
Oh,
booking it virtually.
that sounds really good. That sounds really good.
Do you,
Um,
can I just ask one question?
of course you can.
Do you ever host like online meetups where everyone does like open their textbooks and like
Ah, that's a great
questions?
idea.
That would be really cool to do.
Yeah,
That would be really cool. I've got that question before, and that's been something that I've wanted to start doing.
let's do it.
Where, yeah, that would be amazing, especially with people in like-minded like-minded sets, or whether they've had years of experience or just coming out of school and want to go over a chapter that they're going through right now, and
Mhm.
set up emails and meetups and see if people would want to get together and set up a Zoom and do that.
Sure.
Another thing we're looking at doing is giving people kind of a spotlight. So if there's a practitioner that wants to expose a service that they do to um,
Mhm.
all the other health practitioners within LHN, what I want to start doing is, let's say there's a yoga practitioner that wants to display their skill set and give away a free session to LHN practitioners.
Mhm.
Put it out there and set a time. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Carla is going to offer everybody a free 30-minute yoga session, and that way practitioners get to know her and can hopefully work with her and network with her and build a business. But I love the study idea is good. That's come up a few times, so thanks for that. That would be a good one to explore.
Yeah, that would be fun. One of the reasons why I love that is because you get to watch people think in the moment. And we've often talked about people struggling with that critical thinking part of their practice. So you don't know what you don't know, but to listen to other people work through a case study and ask particular questions, you think, oh, I
Right.
never thought of that. That's so interesting. Or I always do it this way. So here's where I would start. And then you can flip that around on its head and end up making progress with a client where you were just fumbling a little bit before. So
For
yeah,
sure.
great
That
idea.
would be that would be cool. And it's like it's one of those things that you do that doesn't get done enough outside of, like, when you're just doing a week course or
Yeah.
uh, touch ups after school, and of course in school we all do it. But it's funny, in COVID I found the amount of meetups that I've gone through with people about more so about the business more like how to evolve their business after, because in COVID, everybody was redeveloping their business, right? So if you weren't just coming into your industry, you were taking your existing business practice and like trying to completely reconvert and sell people that you can deliver them an awesome online service, which I'm sure most people can, and also literally just make that your thing, right? Like not make it one of my biggest pieces of advice where don't make it like it's a temporary solution. Nobody,
Oh, that's good advice.
right? Nobody wants to sign up for something that they think like, here's what we're going to do in the meantime. It's like, and then charge them $100 an hour, like make it, convert your business and commit yourself mentally to getting a great camera, get a great headset, get a great laptop, put the money in, really commit yourself to it first, sell yourself on it first. And then,
that's right,
if you come
going to work, not to work. Oh my gosh.
Oh, for sure. Like if you come into it half thinking this is going to be a good idea, like the client's going to come in much less than that. Like you don't, if you shortchange the client, like if you shortchange the service, you'll shortchange yourself for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, exactly. How have you pivoted your business? Did you have any real sales jobs to do with clients of yours, or did they just say, oh, I'll do whatever, I want to work with you, so whatever, we'll figure out the Zoom thing? How was that shift for you?
You know what? It did take a lot of, it's funny because that business background I talked about before, like a lot of the time, I think my wife always tells me that like, you don't realize it, but you apply it all the time. Like that, because I always said when I switched programs that I'm like, oh, wow, I feel like I just completely threw that business program away and I completely switched careers. But the good thing with like having a base in business is it kind of always sticks with you on the fundamentals of what you need and what to do. And I guess whether I think it or not, it has definitely applied to help me with how to sell people on it and what gets people going on things like that. I worked really hard on my existing clientele, who I am just blessed to say that they are a really loyal base that I've had for most of them over a decade now, or at least over 5 years from now for the rest. So they've kind of built me into their week where they really trust that, I find when somebody's booking you for training or whatever health practitioner service it may be these days, they're no longer just hiring you for that one service. They're kind of handing over their lifestyle and their health to you, in the sense that they're going to trust you to do everything for them. And I take that as like a pretty serious obligation to make sure that I let them know that they're in the right hands and that they are actually in the right hands, and facilitate that out to the right people. And I find that kind of just pays dividends over time on how much people trust that. But with COVID, I went all out. I remember having this one client the day, I want to say it was March 15th, I feel like. That was the last day I was training in a facility, actually at the Granite Club. And I remember one of my clients of over 10 years now, he's like, Romelo, so what do you think you're going to do? Like, let's say in 2 weeks from now, let's say this place is ghost town with this COVID thing. And at that point it was nobody had any idea what this COVID thing was, right? Like
life is just going to go out on the Granite Club.
You couldn't picture. I was like, you think like nobody's going to be coming in at all? Like you think it's going to be zero in all these places? Like that it's going to become just, the zombie apocalypse out here. Like all these stores and everything are just going to be empty. And he's like, unfortunately, I feel like we're going to see some things we never thought were possible. And he was somebody that I'm very close with, and I know his whole family and all of that. And I talked to him about that, and we went to a whole extensive conversation about it. And it really jigged me to like really think like, if there's nobody in this gym, like what am I going to do? And I remember driving home that day, and I drive past Fitness Depot every single day on Route Hope on Yonge Street.
On Yonge Street, I know the one. Yeah. Did you know the owner has a PhD in biomechanics?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Have you ever talked to him before? Oh, I go in for like one piece of fitness equipment. I'm in there for an hour chatting with him. Yeah.
Oh, no, what's his name?
I can't recall it now off the top of my
I
head.
probably have talked to him. Is what's
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
about it. But no,
Anyway,
they're pretty knowledgeable in there
Yeah, they are.
for the most
Good
part
group.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was driving past there and I stopped in and I went into the store and I was like, let me take a look around, and I'm like, there was a whole bunch of people hustling and bustling around.
Buy
And I'm
everything
like,
now.
yeah, and I was like, what is going on in here? He's like, everyone's stocking up on home gyms, whatever. And my whole headset flipped, and I was like, seeing the demand in the store that day, and that was before the chaos. Like prices were still $1 a pound or so
Yeah.
for pieces of equipment. Now they're like $3-4 a pound.
Mhm.
And I literally loaded up. At the time, I was driving like this little Mazda 3, and I loaded up the trunk, and my car was like tipped to one side, and that equipment was gone. I not only did that load, I had also ordered, because I saw how the way they were, and you can tell prices were going to go through the roof because
That
they were
was
just
very smart.
yeah,
Very
emptied
smart.
out. And I did another order, and worst case scenario, you just sell it online. It's not like you're losing money off this stuff. And then I reached out to all my clients because I knew the number one excuse would be the clients I saw at the Granite or anywhere else um, that were condo gyms and whatnot with facilities. Everyone's thing is going to be, I don't have equipment at home, or I'd love to. So I was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'm building a bunch of home gyms right now, and if you're interested, like I have the equipment and I've sourced it all and whatever. And before you knew it, I was building home gyms left and right, like through the first 3 months of
Great
COVID.
idea.
Yeah, it was home gyms galore. All that equipment was spoken for within a week. And I actually didn't,
Oh, wow.
I didn't even charge anybody a cent over what it cost.
Mhm.
And a lot of my colleagues were like, are you crazy? You're building all these home gyms and you're doing it for free? I'm like, you're doing it for free, but it's going to pay you dividends in the long run, because
Okay.
these people are all going to be training with you. So, and clients become family over time. So you're like, I'm not looking to make a buck for helping people. Like I'm looking at, like, pay me for the service I'm offering you, but building home gyms isn't exactly my business. But once they had that, and we've been steady afloat, and virtual's been crazy busy and awesome with that, and we're still using the equipment that we set up for them within the first couple months of COVID, which has been
good.
Which has been really great. So that little legwork in the beginning, I always say, is if you think you're wasting your time or not doing it for money, it'll pay off for you. People will appreciate it, and give them the tools they need to do the service you offer, and they'll stick with you.
Absolutely. Just a couple of questions before we let you go. Have you shifted any of your one-on-one clients to group sessions? Have you pulled any of your clients together and themed a session? Like we're going to do a stretching hour, we're going to do a meditation hour, yoga hour, or upper body strength training hour, and mixed and matched people that way?
I haven't done that. What I have done is, through LHN, I have referred people to, if you notice through the site, I know I went through it a little quickly there earlier, but there's a group exercise category, and all the group exercise coaches there have live classes, and they're all listed there, and anybody can jump in and sign up with that person for a class. So I've set clients up to jump in on a extra yoga class that's happening at 6:15 with Kareen and things like that, if it's a day that works with them. But for me personally, like, my whole emphasis and enjoyment comes out of one-on-one. And I find there's a huge, like, mental health aspect that happens with it too, where I like to, even outside training, training something we do and it's a service you're delivering, but really getting to know the person, how's their day going, trying to help them with whatever problems are going on. And one of my old mentors would always say, leave them one step better than they came in. And I don't just take that from a training standpoint. I try to take it from a mental health standpoint too, or just a lifestyle standpoint. Like, oh, here's where you're having issues with this. How about, okay, let's talk about that. And whether it's me answering the question for them or just talking through it with them where they figure it out themselves, I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. And a lot of the times I'll get the question of like, okay, but isn't that a lot of people dumping on you per day on whatever problem they're having? But I find for me personally, and I can only speak for myself, I don't really take that with me. Like, I'm happy to give all I've got in that hour and then give me if it's a problem or whatever it is for the hour. And I find compartmentalizing that is just become part of the trade where you help them as much as you can. And even if you have a next hour, you have another hour right after that, helping that other person. I think over time, with just years of experience, it's just become,
You get used to it.
you kind of get used to it and helping out with that.
Oh, neat. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything that's come up as we've been chatting? Nothing so far. Nothing so far.
Okay. Well, if anybody ever needs anything, or is interested in LHN, and interested in building a virtual clinic or networking with practitioners or using it for any of those reasons, you can always reach out to me through the website. There is a contact form on there. There is under that HP portal. You can fill in your information there, or you can send me a personal email to Lateral Health Network at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to assist with networking or seeing if everything works out for you or answering any questions about more about lateral health. You can always reach out.
Nice. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed our conversation, and it was good to connect with you again and have yet another conversation about things. So
likewise,
time this evening. And thanks again. If anyone has any questions, you know where you can contact Romelo. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the virtual health network idea. I think it's very, very clever.
Thanks so much, Angela. Thanks for having me. It was great to meet all of you and hear what everyone's up to and doing through all these times too. But no, thanks so much for making the time.
Thanks again.